Reef DVM's coming at you with the birth of baby goats on our farmstead. You know, goats are always kind of a neat thing to watch being born. Obviously, so are cattle, but a lot of times that's happening outside. So in this situation, the new goat barn, we did wire it with cameras so that we could attend to the goats when they come at odd times of the night. If you're looking there at the time up the top, it's about 2:35 in the morning, and the goat on your right, upper right of your screen there, she's just going into labor. Can't see this first kid real well, but its head is just starting to pop out right now. She's starting to push and scream, as you can kind of hear in the background. And at this time of the morning, a lot of times we're asleep, and we miss these happenings. We don't always like that because animals do occasionally have birthing problems. Kids do need to make sure that they're dry and get colostrum quickly. And sometimes it's really nice to keep up with those birth weights and live weights. The stall next to her, you can see, has got a mother there with triplets. She's resting and doing well, as this goat really just starts to bear down and give labor now. So now she's really pushing hard. Her vocalization is pretty loud. Obviously, you wouldn't miss it if you're in the barn. You know that something's up with your goat as she's trying to get this kid out. And then here comes the kid right there. That kid is pretty much out now. She's starting to realize that she's gotten through the first one, and she does have twins in her. So she is not done, and the next kid's going to be a little bit more visible. A lot of people don't, put cameras in their barns. I'd highly recommend it. For the $100 for the FOSCam camera to run off the Wi-Fi in the area of our house, it's well worth it. You can see a lot with these cameras. You can rotate them, you can zoom them, you can move them around. But here it is, it's 2:37 in the morning. This goat's out. We're actually now awake by this point. The FOSCam alarms have tripped us in the house, so we now know this is happening. It just takes us a little bit of time to get up and get dressed and get out there. We can see this on our cell phones, so we know that the first kid is now popped out as we're getting up one of our daughters to go out and help my wife with this. The mothering instinct of this goat is just kicking in. This is her first set of twins and first kids, period. So she's doing a good job. She's starting to lick this kid and she's figuring it out. And then if you kind of watch her flanks, you can tell that the compressions are just about ready to start kicking back in here again. And that's going to get her to settle down and keep this kid, next to her while she goes through the next labor. There's not much she can do at this point. It's going to kick in, and she's just going to go through it. Now with FOSCams, we have these FOSCams set up so that they detect movement, yes, but there has to be a lot of movement. And we have them set up so they also detect sound, but the sound has to be a lot of sound. So you'll notice sometimes there's pauses or skips because FOSCam's not recording all the time. It's only recording when there's a fair amount of movement and there's loud sounds. You don't have to have FOSCam record anything if you don't want, folks, but the alarm ability with these cameras is quite nice because when you do have pregnant does that you want to put in the birthing pen, you can tell it to record for that week, that set of days, or even that month. And again, for the little bit of data you're using, $3-4, it's well worth it. Again, she's shifted a little bit there. She's a little bit closer to the wall. She's got that kid, pretty cleaned up. This birthing barn is running about, probably close to 60 degrees at this point. Her vocalization is a lot less and so forth. But again, if you watch back by that hind leg there, you can just see a light contraction kicking in again. She's starting to feel it again. So the second kid's going to be on its way. Remember, about 2:37 is when this one was born. So we're not even 10 minutes yet into the process. And, she's starting to ramp up for the next kid. The body is already moving that kid upward and outward. Both of these kids have pretty dark brown heads because they're boar goats. And as you can see, they both come out head first, which is just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The other goat is now fully awake. Some of her kids there are getting up and, saying hi to her and maybe gonna eat a little. She's gonna eat a little. She's pretty much got the whole barn awake. I think right now there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven or eight kids in this barn, and there's at least 4 or 5 moms. Right now the cameras are on these boar goats, but there are a couple dairy goats in here too that'll eventually be giving birth also. Notice that last contraction there really kind of kicked her a little bit. She could tell it. So here we go. We're just coming up about on the 10-minute mark. Again, these contractions are really starting to bug her. She goes down on her knees. She's going to do it. She's going to curl up next to this kid that she's got. She's going to try and keep it warm. The kid's going to snuggle right in next to her. And she's going to go through this again. It's never any fun, but, that's the blessing of birth. You can just tell her vocalizations are up. She's struggling a bit, but she's going to get it done. If you watch the back of her there's a little bit of fluid. You can see that kind of black head just coming out. There. She's kicking with her feet there a little bit, just trying to get some traction. Even for animals, there's labor pain. The head is almost completely out at this point. Just got to give kind of a big push here, a big final push, and she'll be able to get this kid out. Gets a little rest there. She's just licking the one that's next to her, just taking a little breather, and then the next contraction comes, and she gives it all she can, and she does this several times until she finally gets this kid out. There we go. These are both little bucks. And immediately, that's a good sign when you see that on camera. She immediately turns and starts licking them. That's a wonderful thing. Just trying to clean them up the best she can. She's a little winded from it. This whole process has only been going on, maybe at this point for close to 20 minutes at tops. My wife and daughter are pretty much suited up. They've gotten towels. They've got the navel dip that they're ready for, and they're pretty much almost out to the barn at this point. The barn from the house is probably about a football field away, so it takes them a little bit of time to walk over to it. By the time you get suited up and stuff. Temperature outside during this birth is about 12 degrees. And again, inside it's pretty close to 60. Notice she wants to attend to that kid now. That's just a good sign. Good mothering instinct. Barn's a lot quieter now that she's given birth. She doesn't have much for contractions. She'll pass the placenta probably in another 15, 20 minutes. But she's doing a good job. She's just licking them, getting the feel of things, kind of getting back on her feet, realizing it's over. I think she's going to be a really good mom. She's a good goat. We'd all prefer this to happen during the daytime when we're around and we can easily assist them. But sometimes that's not just in the cards. So again, having these cameras where we can move them around and watch them and set alarms so they notify us, to, send us messages or, make noise so that we can hear that screaming and get up and react to it is a wonderful thing. When she does come in, priority for us is always dry them off, check the sex, make sure all their limbs are in good shape, make sure their ears are doing well, make sure their eyes are open. From there, it's about, just getting them dry, getting weights on them, making sure that they've gotten some nursing. Here they come into the barn, just getting these lights fired up. The camera switches into color mode once the lights turn on in the barn, gets off that night vision. They get their first looks at the kids that just came out. Notice on the left side there, that big doe, she's going to come over and just say hi after she's done scratching herself. She's just wondering what all the commotion's about. Then basically we go in and we start, taking over of drying these goats off and helping mom out and making sure things get cleaned up and, that they're doing well. think one of these kids weighed about 9 pounds. I think the other was pushing over 10. This is a good sized little buck kids. They should have a nice rate of gain. They're just learning how to walk, so you're going to see in the video they're gonna stumble and fall a bit. But within a couple hours, they'll be running around and horsing just like their compadres next door are. They just got to get their feet underneath them and get the feel of it. This is what it's like. This is what we do at about, 3 a.m. in the morning. Help them get through the process, folks. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed how baby goats are born on our farm.